Next to the violent crime surging across America, in California, the Oakland police chief summed it up by simply saying it's out of control. But how do cities and towns fight the spike during a time when police are facing mounting pressures? Matt Gutman goes in depth.
It was the 65th murder that seemed to break something in Oakland's police chief.
Saturday night, I went out to a scene of a young man that lost his life. And a lady yelled out the window, "Do something about it."
We were with the Oakland police that night, racing to that very shooting.
Gunshot wound to the head.
I don't want no camera.
Just stay. Come over here. At the scene, chaos.
Okay.
Keep walking.
Come over here. Stay with me.
Family members distraught. And Oakland officers on the ground there doing CPR. And from the shadows, you could hear neighbors calling out. The man still had a pulse, and paramedics worked on him even as they loaded him onto the ambulance.
So that gunshot victim shot in the head is loaded into this ambulance. They're trying to back it out of here. It is unclear whether or not he will survive.
Within minutes, the forensics team was there. Those yellow numbered cones covering bullet casings.
How busy have you been this year?
Really busy. Really busy. This is the third one since yesterday afternoon.
The third murder.
Yeah.
It was after 9 p.m. on a Saturday. Still, within minutes of the shooting, Oakland's police chief arrived in uniform. He was briefed by the officers, then came to us, telling us the victim had died.
A city of 425,000, 65 homicides so far this year. How do you explain that?
I don't know how you explain it. It's clear that violence is an epidemic in this community. It's clear that people have too easily access to firearms, and they're overly willing to use them.
Violence exacerbated by the scourge of so-called ghost guns, which are parts of guns purchased online and which can be assembled at home.
So you've seen double the number of ghost guns this year?
Yes, double the number of ghost guns. Also, we are hearing in our community that they are easy to access. And so that makes this job much more difficult. We're unable to trace these firearms. We don't know the origin of them, and we don't know who they're in the hands of.
Citywide, it's the busiest area to work.
We come to Oakland earlier that day to ride along with Lieutenant Lisa Osmus on the so-called dog shift, the late night shift. And just 60 seconds into the start of our ride, the first call crackled on the radio.
They're chasing a suspect with a gun right now.
The man allegedly leaving the gun at or near this park.
Did we find it?
Full of kids.
Is that the right guy that they caught? Yeah.
One of those kids snapped a picture of the suspect, showing it to Osmus. Other officers scoured the scene, but police say they were unable to find it. On this Saturday night, Lieutenant Osmus was in charge of policing half the city. She had only 38 officers for a population of over 200,000 people.
That's probably one of our biggest downfalls in our departments. You just don't have the resources to respond to the calls.
Calls like theft and burglary. This past year, Oakland has seen a 90+% increase in homicides. It's just one snapshot of America's new reality. Violence has surged around the country. Sometimes the shootings in heavily trafficked places, like this one in Times Square. A 4-year-old shot in this incident, but more often they happen in the shadows. At the national level, homicides in large cities went up nearly 29% in the first quarter of 2021 compared with the same period in 2020. This, according to preliminary data collected by the Major Cities Chiefs Association. And it's happening as departments like Oakland's are seeing their budgets squeezed. The City Council voting to cut $18 million over the next 2 years and channel part of it to 2 other programs, including $4 million for a pilot program that'll dispatch trained personnel to respond to nonviolent and non-criminal issues of mental and behavioral health.
Our policing budget has grown by 70% over the past 15 years, yet
We still need to do a better job getting guns off the streets. We need to do a much better job solving violent crimes, and that investment needs to start somewhere.
Oakland's Chief Armstrong agrees that police presence alone cannot stem the tide of violence.
The success of this city will not be just law enforcement. It won't be just the Oakland Police Department. It will be the Oakland Police Department, it will be the Department of Violence Prevention, and it will be, most importantly, community.
But the chief and the mayor say that budgetary diversion could result in the loss of more officers when the department is already more than 70 officers short of its total allotment.
Are you experiencing difficulty in recruiting new police officers?
It's been a challenge, yes. It's been a challenge recruiting. It's also been a challenge retaining officers in a city this busy, in a city with this level of violence, in a city with this level of scrutiny.
I think we got the scene secure.
Still, even on the dog watch, even at murder scenes, many officers remain committed to their jobs and their mission.
So if you're processing twice the number of violent crime scenes, I mean, does it get to you emotionally?
I try to take it as a different look. I want to help solve things, so if my work on the scene can help lead to a conviction later, then I feel like I've just given that family a little bit more closure for what happened than what they had originally. So to me, I take it that way, and then it doesn't eat me up as much.
And our thanks to Matt Gutman.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.